Hi, Matt Sitter from AFN here. I am tremendously excited to have one of our 2023 award winners with us today, Ulrika Brunner. She won our Leader of the Future award. Fantastic to be able to celebrate you as a leader, Ulrika. Congratulations.
I'm so honored, Matt. It's just absolutely amazing. I'm still pinching myself. Thank you so much.
Great. Ulrika, maybe can you just tell us a little bit about your business, what you guys do, and how you think of yourself as a leader in terms of helping to meet the objectives of that business?
Yeah, sure. So Inspire Group is actually originally from New Zealand, and is involved in a lot of different things, but everything has to do with behavior change. So a lot of learning solutions, everything from e-learning to workshops to coaching. So I am responsible for Asia for Inspire Group, and we've been here based in Malaysia for the past 6.5 years. And for me personally, I'm very closely linked to the belief and the reason why Inspire Group exists, and that is to produce better learning that is life-changing. So that's what we operate with every day, which is exciting.
Excellent. And how long have you been with the company?
So I've now been with Inspire Group for 4.5 years.
What have you enjoyed about it so far?
You know, it's amazing. I feel like I've I've been given so much. I've been so empowered to be able to build this business in Asia with amazing support from the group CEO and founder, Dan Tohill, as well as the shareholders, and of course the extended team, both in New Zealand and Australia, that have really set a standard for Inspire Group Asia to live up to. So it's really, I'm very proud of being able to say that we are able to also uphold the same kind of quality that the other regions are doing.
Excellent. Can you share just a little bit about your leadership philosophy?
Well, I think, you know, I mean, you asked me something similar before, and I'm really present to the fact that it's really not about me. I think this is something that I've learned, you know, through life. I didn't always believe that. I was, you know, I would say in my mid 30s, I was still very self-occupied. And I had to go through quite a journey to sort of realize that, no, it's not at all about me as a person, but it is how I can contribute to others. And I think the work that we do at Inspire Group has really helped me to understand that that is so true. It's fundamentally, if I can contribute to just one person that I meet, and any person that I meet, that's the real purpose, I think, that we can be as humans, but to choose to show up like that consistently, right? Because it's not easy, right, to do that consistently. And I think that's what differentiates a leader from just a person who's just existing.
Well, and it sounds like you've got the attitude, I'm not a finished product yet, which I think is a pretty healthy one. There's always things to learn.
Well, I just think, I mean, that's really when you decide that that's what you want to be doing, to actively contribute to others in any way that you can. I think well, for me at least, I really just appreciate life to a completely different level rather than being self-occupied. It's about others, right?
Okay, so you're from a totally different part of the planet, probably as
Yes.
far away as you can get from where you sit right now. Uh, Thinking about just cultural differences, what are some of the things that you've learned in your leadership journey, just having the experience of coming from somewhere else?
Yeah, I think my main go-to is to be curious, you know, really to just be asking questions, listening, giving the space to understand people from other cultures, or even, you know, organizations that have different types of cultures, right? So that we don't come in with our biases and making assumptions, because yeah, that's just very dangerous to do. So I think the curiosity and wanting to know about people. I'm genuinely interested in every person that I meet. And as well as being authentic, like, showing up, like what you see is what you get. It's not, I'm not different at home, sitting here talking to you today. I mean, maybe I wouldn't be wearing my jacket if we weren't on this call, but I do try to be the same with any person that I interact with. And I do care about people. I think the curiosity and the caring of wanting to make a difference helps me to really stay focused and keeps me committed to how I show up every day.
Any big surprises that you saw from a cultural perspective in your leading in a different part of the world?
I mean, I have to tell you. So when I first moved to Asia, I'm originally Swedish, grew up in Portugal. When I decided to move to Asia, I first lived in Vietnam. So I lived in Vietnam for a total of 8 years. And one of my jobs there was representing an international publishing company. And the local partner was the youth union, which in Vietnam at that time, and still is part of the Communist Party. So we would have our monthly, our Monday meetings would be wearing the youth union uniform, which was this very bright blue color with a Vietnamese flag on. And we would have these meetings and we would call each other comrade and, pay homage to the Communist Party. And it was just, I remember the first meeting that I sat into, it was just pinch me now. It was totally surreal. And I loved it. The people there were absolutely awesome. I think that's probably one of my highlights since I moved to Asia.
How many languages do you speak?
4 fluently.
English, Swedish, and what else?
French and Portuguese.
Okay, so you are conducting business in the country that you live in, not in their native tongue.
Correct. Yes. I mean, the working language here is English.
How tricky is that on a day-to-day basis?
In Malaysia, most people here speak better English than I do. So, they learn English from a very early age. I think that's what makes Kuala Lumpur, KL, such a great place to have a regional office in, because it's easy. From here, we can take care of all our international clients, right? Because everybody speaks such good English.
So you talked. The point of Inspire Group is changing people, changing behavior. When you're thinking about your employees within your company, what are some of the things that you focus on in terms of making sure that they're actually doing the things that are going to help the organization? Is there any behavior change things that you pour into your own business?
Yeah, first of all, sorry, I have to correct you, but we don't change people because we cannot change people, right? We can't force people to change, but it is maybe making them aware of the mindset where they're at, whether they have a fixed or a growth mindset, right? And they choose to take on the learning, right? But I would say for my team, like I mentioned before, the quality and the delivery of the solutions and the learning that we provide to our clients, it has to be of the highest quality and it has to be consistently of high quality. And I think that's really my job to make sure that happens. So I'm constantly testing, checking in with our clients and making sure that we're getting feedback. We have quite strict systems in place in terms of doing debriefs. So after any workshop or after any e-learning or anything, we always make sure that we have a very detailed debrief with the client, but also if we worked with different facilitators, making sure that we also receive feedback from the facilitators. What was it like working with the Inspire Group on this project? And being really, open and honest about that. So we always talk about stop, start, continue. So what could have been done better? And that's just an easy way to have that conversation and better to nip it in the bud. And I think that's the testament of that. I know that it works because I would say 90% of my clients are recurring organization. They will keep working with us for several years. So I guess it works.
There you go. When we're thinking about growth mindset, obviously it gets talked a lot about in a variety of different forums. Uh, how well do you think companies, is it still new language for organizations to hear about, or do you feel like it has solidified in the language that people are using?
I think the language is familiar because I think most people have read about it or heard about it. But I think how we actually understand it or imagine that it looks like in real life, I think that's where the challenge is. Because very often we will come into organizations where the people, the participants that we work with, they say, yes, of course, I have a growth mindset and I'm open to learning. But when you start digging a little bit deeper, it might not be to the full extent that they think they're at a growth mindset. And I think just recognizing when we are in a growth, when we have a growth mindset, when we have a fixed mindset, is that I think that's the key, right? The awareness and starting to build that conversation within organizations. Because in some situations we need a fixed mindset, right? In like emergency situations or things like that. So I think the awareness, I would say, is the most important part and is not consistent, right? We never assume that our participants will deeply understand growth versus fixed mindset.
Thinking about your peer leaders at organizations throughout the world, what do you think are some of the big challenges that are facing them right now? What are some of the hard things that they're going to be looking at in 2024?
I think a global thing, everybody talks about, finding the right talent, and also retaining, making sure that attrition is low, I think is a major concern. And I think that's great because that means that organizations are sort of being forced to take a more human-centric approach. I think, the pandemic really helped with that we can't not take the people's matters seriously, right? We have to make sure that we're not just ticking boxes and saying that, we have bean bags and that makes this a great place to work. It really is about, what do I feel when I come to work? What do I feel about my colleagues? When I wake up in the morning, how keen am I to go to the office and to hang out? So I think taking that seriously has really changed, and which is great for us because that gives us a lot of work to do. But I think that commitment of, we need to take the human-centric approach to how we lead people. And that's a beautiful thing to be part of.
Any retention secrets that you got? Anything that you guys are doing you think is particularly of note for folks to hear about?
Yes, first of all, anybody that has any influence, so you don't need to be a team leader or a boss, right? Anybody with any type of influence, which is basically anybody in an organization, you need to lead by example, right? So you have to make a choice of how you want to show up. I'm quite direct. For example, if I'm doing coaching or mentoring programs, I'm quite direct with the people that I coach and mentor. Where I say, you choose. It's really up to you how you show up. It's not about what your boss is doing for you or what the organization is doing for you. So I think that really makes a difference when we choose how we want to show up and we lead by example and do so in an open way, right? But are honest about it as well, because I think we can't always operate at 100%, and be honest about it. I think that has helped me a lot just to be able to say, listen, today I'm not feeling, 100%. I'm going to be whatever, taking the afternoon and going for a walk or whatever it is that I need to do, right? To also be kind to ourselves in this process, because if we're not, if we're not leading ourselves, it's very difficult to show up for other people.
Great. Well, yeah, I mean, I think there's a realization, hey, we're actually human beings at the end of the day. So let's treat ourselves like that.
Yes. And it sounds so simple, right? But it can be so difficult to live with that every day.
For sure. As you think about AFN, what are some of the things that you think AFN has been helpful for you, both personally and with your organization?
I mean, Matt, from the first time that we came across each other and we connected, I think the different forums that I have been included in terms of the discussions, like the CEO roundtables, the connections, the network that happens in those discussions where you're actually talking about specific challenges that different leaders are facing, and I would say the peer-to-peer support, learning, and inspiration also. I think when, for all the sessions that I've been part of, I've gotten so much takeaway from it in terms of different ways of thinking of, dealing with a different challenge, right? So it's like, oh, I never thought of doing it like that. Or if they've done this, maybe I can try that too. And I think especially the international component for me is important, because I am looking after a region, and I know many of the members are focused maybe elsewhere in the world, but I think it's very important for me as a leader to remain in touch on what's going on in other parts of the globe. And that has been really, really interesting and super rewarding. So thank you. Thank you for having me.
Good to hear. Thank you very much for those kind words. Well, Ulrika, once again, it's a big privilege of ours to be able to celebrate what you've accomplished as a leader, what you're doing with your organization. So thank you for being part of our network, and we really appreciate you, and we hope you have a great 2024.
Thank you so much, Matt. Again, I'm so honored by this award, and I'm looking forward to catching up with you soon at the next event. Take care. Thank you so much.